chicken pongteh. Chicken pongteh simply means chicken stew. So all you need to do here is to have a couple of pieces of chicken here, probably about 12 pieces, 1/2 kilo chicken clean. So we're going to heat up the pan here. Now we're going to add some cooking oil and saute some of these lovely ingredients in front of me here. Now you will notice in a typical peranakan cooking, we use a lot of garlic, ginger, as well as all these wonderful spices, including soya, light soya, and oyster sauce. So when you look at it, it's pretty much a Chinese-based thing. But then, you also notice that in the earlier program, I have prepared the laksa. And you see that all these common spices like galangal, lemongrass that's used in laksa. And these are very typical Malay. So you see the cross-culture between Malay as well as Chinese. Now, we add here a lot of chopped, or we say pounded shallot and some garlic. So we saute them until they become very nice and fragrant. That. So now I'm slowly cooking here my garlic and ginger. We need to add a bit more oil from time to time here. Now next thing I want to do here is to throw some whole spices. So can you see some of these wonderful spices? This is not part of Chinese. It's always been part of other countries like India and the Middle East, Central Asia. And of course today we have added them into this dish. So you see here a bit of tar anise as well as clove. So once you have that, we have plenty of ginger. Ginger has very, very high quality of antioxidant, a lot of medicinal value to it. And this is going to be cooked together with the chicken as part of the stew. Now at this point of time, we can already add in the bits and pieces of chicken. So if you don't like too much fat, you can also remove the fat of the chicken. Now because this is a chicken stew, remember, you really need to heat up, cook at very high heat as to sear the chicken parts and all that so that it will retain its juice. So at the end of the stewing process, you find the chicken is still lovely and it's still very moist. The next thing you want to do here is to add a couple tablespoons of soya sauce. So this is when the Chinese ingredient or the confluence of Chinese cooking came about. So beside all this soya sauce, we're also going to add some fermented bean, or the Chinese call it tauchiu. So just a couple of tablespoons. Now I normally try to add them a bit more later because I don't want them to be too salty. So that is just enough. Bit of light soya. Now you got to be very careful when you prepare chicken pongteh. That sometimes, soya plays a very important role. You need a very, very super top quality ketchup, or we call it in Bahasa is ketchup, in English means soya. So remember that. So once I've added all that, the next thing I want to do here is we're going to add some fermented soya bean. Now this is easily available in many of the Asian grocery stores. They are always in the jar. So be careful not to put them too much because they are of course soaked in brine and relatively salty. Next thing I want to do here, we're going to throw in some water. So from now onward, this chicken is going to be stewed for about half an hour. Now with this, again, comes this wonderful shiitake Chinese mushroom. So there's mushroom inside, extremely flavorful, extremely nutritious. So that's why you notice, in a typical Nyonya family, chicken pongteh is always served and cooked, when there's a lot of elderly people, small children, they love this. Next thing you want to do here is going to add some potato. Aha! Sometimes I wondered where did this potato come from. This is Chinese cooking, and this is also part of it Malay cooking. And I think, the potato must have been brought in by the British. Now, while the potato is simmering there, I am going to chop some of my coriander leaf. Chinese parsley or coriander is also sometimes known as cilantro. So you see, they're all of the same herb. The chicken is gently simmering here. We're going to cut some of this chili, if you like to spice them up. That also gives a nice color, green, red all over. And so you want to put this just about 10 minutes before everything starts to cook and it's ready to be served. Ah, what a beautiful dish. There you are. It's time for me to serve the chicken. Like I said, chicken Pongteh is always fabulous when you prepare them a few hours at your time. 4 or 5 hours, because that's when all the flavors come together. Even as I'm plating this, I can smell the soya, the wonderful aroma of the mushroom together. And don't forget, star anise, clove, just fabulous.